What's going on, guys? It's the Baseline Podcast here. You know, it's Jonathan Rears. Got Nitzan Aaron, and we got Bodie Hume in the house today. Appreciate you for coming.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for letting me come down.
Yes, sir. So I'm just going to say we're very happy. It's been over a year now, officially a year of pumping out weekly episodes every single week. We couldn't have done it without Audioversity and Reichman University. You know, they help us a ton. Yvonne, all the guys in the production, they really help us so much. And, you know, Mayor and I started this as a passion project, as a school project. And we realized that so many players, so many coaches, there's so much stories out there that goes into the overseas basketball play. Like we were talking about it, such a small world, you know.
Yeah.
There's guys who just end up playing in different countries together, and they might know each other from high school, right?
Right.
Played AAU with them or something like that. So we're very proud of ourselves for making this what it's become. And then Nitzan was able to step in and really do a great job. So really happy to keep pumping this out, and I'm excited to share your story, Bodie. Let's get into it.
Perfect.
Yeah, speaking of your story, let's start off. So you're from Sterling, Colorado.
Yeah.
Right. You went over about 99 miles, if I'm not mistaken, an hour and a half away to Northern Colorado.
Yes. Yeah, it was a very close, close college.
Sticking at home, Northern Colorado, played a great 4 years there where you averaged over 10 a game every year. Went pro over in Sweden, averaged 14 and a half over there, so that's already a great year. Then jumped over to Germany, back to Germany, and now your first year in Israel.
Yeah. It's been a wild ride, and coming from Sterling, Colorado, you get and getting the opportunity to see a lot of the world has been a blessing. So it's nice to be a part of.
That's incredible. So let's take it back all the way to the beginning. You know, let's take it. So where did this love of the game come from?
Man, it's tough. I think growing up where I'm from, you kind of have to play sports if you want to be friends with anyone, is what it seemed like. My dad was really good at basketball when he was growing up. He was kind of a known basketball guy when he was in high school, and he went to Sterling High School too. And then for me, it was really easy to just kind of play basketball with my friends, play baseball with my friends, play football with my friends, and just kind of continue from there. I got to middle school and high school and played 3 sports, and ultimately basketball was the saving grace to get me out and have me going to college for free.
And basketball also led you to all around the world, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But another thing that you like to do is play golf.
I do.
So segueing into our starting 5 segment, you know, why don't you list us your top 5 golfers in the world right now?
Yeah, I mean, I have to go with Scotty Scheffler. I think he's the number 1 golfer in the world. I think that I would have loved to put like Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson in there, but they're just kind of older.
Washed.
Yeah, they've made their money and they're just checking in for sure. I've been a Rory fan for some time, but like for me, like an Anthony Kim is a young kid coming up who's a Nike guy, and he's going to be really good in a few years. I think there's this other guy named Ben Griffin, really goofy swing, but he got to play in the Ryder Cup where it was U.S. versus Europe, and he played unreal. Tommy Fleetwood's another good one. So there's a few that I like to watch, but yeah, it's a passion of mine, and I watch the big events. I don't watch all the little ones, but
so it's great that you say that you know golf, and then also like you said, growing up, always played basketball, baseball, football, whatever it is. To like really, sports is the biggest way to make friends and really come together as a young child, you know. But then at some point you take it seriously, you know, basketball, and you go into play AAU, I assume.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so just tell us, like, Colorado AAU, what was that
Absolutely.
like?
It's very small. There was one, so like in AAU, obviously you have like the EYBL and the Adidas Gauntlet, the Under Armour stuff. We had one team in the Adidas Gauntlet, and I was luckily asked to be on it my junior summer going into my senior year, and that was the only year of AAU I actually played.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I played travel basketball growing up, like around kind of Sterling and around like Greeley where I was from. But yeah, I joined that team. It was called the Colorado Hawks. We went to Georgia. I got to play Zion Williamson. I got to play like a Mac McClung. I got to play David McCormick, who's in Germany now. So like stuff like that, just being a part of a team. They got to play all these high names, and we didn't do very good for sure. I think we played 1 tournament or 2 tournaments and went like 2-6, but it was a lot of fun, and ultimately I played well enough to get a few offers coming out, and then I played high school and kind of played good there, and just kind of moved on.
So before you were able to go play with some of these, or against some of these incredible players, David McCormick, Kansas legend, can't leave Zion out, legend of New Orleans in the game.
Yes.
Before you were able to do all of that, what was the basketball culture like in Colorado? You said your dad was a known player. You said you kind of stayed local and traveled. What was that culture like?
Yeah, it's a very small culture. You end up playing the same teams. Teams that I played when I was 10 years old were the same guys that I played when I was in high school. You kind of just get around the same community, whether it's a 45-minute drive or an hour and a half drive to go play in some small tournament with some of your friends and the dads or coaches. You know how that goes growing up. And then in high school, I ended up playing the same people over and over again. And then again, AAU makes it a whole different world because in northeastern Colorado, you're completely separate from like Denver and the middle part, to where like you have a couple of my teammates that were Gatorade Player of the Year in Colorado, and like good, never even knew of until I started playing with him in AAU. So like it's almost a completely different world, northeastern Colorado, compared to the rest of Colorado, like Colorado Springs and Denver area.
Wow.
And you stay in northern Colorado for college, but you talked about AAU. You got some offers, but northern Colorado, it's close to home. Are they eyeing you throughout high school? At what point are you kind of like talking with them?
Yeah, honestly through AAU. I had a rough start, didn't play very well, but they kind of reached out a little bit here and there, and then I ended up playing really well towards the end of the AAU season, and they offered me. It was actually funny. I had a few official visits lined up, and I had an unofficial with them. We drove up the night before. I got super sick and I had like the flu or something, and they still had me come over, and they kind of explained everything out, and I liked the coach and I liked the mindset that they had. And then the biggest issue for me was academically, they kind of didn't have the program I wanted to go into at that time. But they set up a whole system for me and a path that I was basically on board with. And from then canceled my official visits and called the coach, said, hey, I'll be there.
So you were looking at Northern Colorado and you're looking at other schools. What other schools were you looking at?
Man, it was a long time ago now.
Yeah.
I think Pepperdine was one I was kind of interested in. Omaha was one I was interested in. Then they had like Northeast schools like Mercer and Dartmouth.
Okay.
So was the interest also coming from the academic point as well?
Yes and no. Like obviously, like I was a good student and I wanted to I had a plan of kind of what I wanted to do. And then as college basketball kind of continued and you realized that you could maybe be a professional, you kind of shift towards basketball a little bit more and less of the academic side. But yeah, I think that academics was a big part of my decision in choosing.
So out of high school, you weren't really thinking like, oh, I'm gonna go and do this for a pro career.
No, truthfully, I was thinking I'm gonna go get to play 4 years of basketball and then get a job and move on with my life, and then leave that chapter behind. And luckily, I just played well at the right times.
But you end up at Northern Colorado. They set up the academic system. They get you right. They get you comfortable. You play 26 minutes a game, like for a freshman.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah.
So is that kind of in the talks as well in the beginning?
He told me that I was going to play quite a bit. He couldn't guarantee me a starting spot, but like a 6-man type of position. And then all of a sudden, our starting 4-man got hurt. He messed up his ankle pretty bad and was out for like half the season. So I had to kind of step into that role and play the 4-man. And yeah, it helped me. I got to play well, made some shots at right times, and just was kind of super efficient. So it helped me stay on the floor.
You go from playing, as you said, very local players to then only one AAU season of high-level competition. What was that jump to college basketball like?
Different for sure. I think for me, the competition that I had in high school was very, very minimal compared to the rest of Colorado, let alone the rest of the nation, you know? And so once I get to college, I just tried to do what coach told me to do and tried to fit in as much as I could. And in college, even at D1, D2 levels, you play these tune-up games where like you're meant to just beat teams really bad. So I ended up playing well against the bad teams, and then I was kind of a confidence thing to just kind of carry you into the rest of the season.
That's incredible. I mean, you see so many times when people go in that they lack the confidence when they come, when it's almost like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
So you getting that tune-up is really something that's important with that. And so you carry that on. You average 11 a game your freshman season. Then you jump up your sophomore season. You're shooting incredible numbers. What is it like in college at this moment?
It's a blast. Yeah. I mean, I'm starting to play well. Coach is giving me a bigger role, and ultimately, like, we start to win a few games here and there. We're starting to kind of hit a run. And then I remember specifically we were playing the best basketball. I was playing great basketball, and then we get to our conference tournament, and that's when they called it for COVID. So that was kind of
that's tough.
An issue. But, I mean, again, there was times where I just got to play unbelievable basketball. I think there was times where I was scoring like 26 and a half and just playing well. So I was really happy with how the season went.
I've actually never really heard what you said before is like the tune-up games. I always hear like guys in practice trying to get better, trying to boost their confidence. But I've never really heard of like, you have these tune-up games where you're playing like maybe out-of-conference teams that are less good to get better. So you go into these games just trying to kill.
Yeah. I mean, because at the end of the day, like, D1 schools, you're there from June to July. You take like 2 weeks off in August, and you're getting to know everyone, and then you come back and you practice the whole time.
Right.
So, like, at practice, I knew I was doing okay, and I was getting thrown into the fire anyways with playing the 3, playing the 4, not getting really any subs because I needed to learn the system as quick as possible. So, like, I knew I could play with my teammates because they made a good job of allowing me to play with them, I guess, if that works. And then, yeah, I mean, I knew kids that were at these schools when I was growing up, and I was like, dude, like, I gotta beat you. I gotta beat you bad. And that's just kind of how it went. So yeah.
That's funny. But you go in the 4 that got hurt. That was your freshman year. So you got into that role. Did you stick with the 4 role for the rest of your college career? Because I do see your junior year. This is where you take a big jump and you're averaging 16 and 7, right? Yeah. So you're playing like a 4, the rebounding.
No, 100%.
So
yeah, definitely. I think as we kind of continued, I did play the 4. There was always kind of a talk with my coach before of, you're going to play the 3, and then this would happen. And then my sophomore year, I was going to play the 3, and then our starting 4-man quit. And then the next year, we actually get Dalton Connect as a bounce back for us from JUCO. And he's like, well, he's going to play the 3, so you got to play the 4 again. And then same thing my senior year. So it was kind of –
So Dalton was on that team?
Yeah.
So he plays the 3 and you play the 4.
Let me rephrase.
Okay.
My junior year, we had a Dalen Kuntz who came from Colorado University, and he played the 3 that year. And then I played the 4, and then the next year Dalton came in and he played the 3.
This is your senior year.
My senior year, he played the 3. Yeah.
So he plays the 3, and then you play the 4, but that's also maybe like a team strategy. Like they just stretch out the team kind of because you still shooting the ball.
Yeah.
Like you're shooting the 3.
No, 100%. We had a system where I didn't really have to like set a bunch of ball screens. I got to set a lot of ghost screens and just kind of play on the wing, so I was able to kind of get away with it.
So playing as a 4-3 with Dalton, how is that like? You guys are both shooters and you stretch the floor out. So what was it like kind of playing with him?
It was good. I mean, he's really good at basketball. He turns the game into his play style, and he's always kind of had a special play style. He's not just a catch and shoot guy. He's able to kind of take things off the bounce, and he slows the game down really well. So yeah, I mean, it was really cool to watch him play. It was really cool to kind of grow with him and see him become just even a better basketball player, because he came from the JUCO in Sterling, Colorado. So I knew him kind of growing up, and I knew and I played with him before, and yeah, it was a lot of fun to kind of play with him. And I mean, you see where he's at now. So he found confidence the year after I left, and after that he never looked back. He finds plays in Tennessee, gets kills in Tennessee, and now he's just playing on the Lakers, hanging out, having fun. So,
yeah.
Could you tell early on that he was on the trajectory he was on?
I think when it comes down to it, I think that he was a really good player. You can never kind of tell when you play at a mid-major just because you don't necessarily know who's going to be watching. You don't necessarily know what's going to happen. And then with the COVID year, after I saw him go to Tennessee, I was like, well, he's good. He'll be fine, because he's averaging like 22 his last year at UNC, and then he averaged like 24 or 20 at Tennessee. I'm like, this is crazy. So yeah, once you hit that spotlight, you're pretty much good to go.
He comes in 2021, right? Mm-hmm. This is NIL now.
It's very rough.
The beginning.
Yes, very beginning.
So can you talk kind of about that, like your senior year? How did that kind of take effect? Did you see something for the future, kind of how it was going to look like?
Yeah, I think that our school was very unprepared at kind of what they could offer and what they could kind of contribute to. And NIL was such a new thing that we never really knew what we were kind of getting ourselves into and what really could be made of it. So we were trying to do everything by the book, cross the T's, dot the I's. And so I ended up having a few, like, I got to talk on the radio once a week and did some commercials and stuff. But, like, for me, even I think I have some friends back there now, and it doesn't sound like they just have that many opportunities in Greeley unless they go seek it out themselves more. So obviously, like, you go to a high major Tennessee or a Kansas or a Gonzaga, you're going to have opportunities to make some money, to where, like, UNC, you're there to produce and play good basketball.
And I asked because you're in that COVID section. Did you have a chance to take a COVID year?
I did, yeah, I did.
So why did you not end up taking that?
Truth is, I was over school. I think that for me, it seemed to be a waste of time to go take another year and do, like, start the major, but really don't do the classes. You know, I didn't want to really tank my grades like that, to where like I just drop the classes when it's all said and done. And for me, had opportunities to make some money, so I was like, well, let's go give it a try. And ultimately, like, if I can go to somewhere and play professionally, it's been a dream of mine, so I might as well take advantage of it while I can.
Taking it back, during the NIL era, you very rarely see someone stay out of school for 4 years.
Yeah.
And I know NIL kind of came late. There was COVID year. There was all these things. What kept you there for 4 strong years?
Yeah. I get asked that a lot, actually. I think for me, coaches definitely, when going into my junior year, I had a chance to leave because the head coach left and he wanted to take me with him. I said, let me try this guy out. He's the original guy that brought me in, so let me try that. After that, he brought in a staff that I really liked and I could kind of get along with. So I stayed junior and senior year because I could have gone somewhere and tried something new. But I think for me, I had family, I had a girlfriend, I had a good community around me that I kind of wanted to just continue to be a part of.
Well, that's
And sorry to ask, but is it the same girl that you
Yeah.
ended up marrying? So
Yep.
you meet her in northern Colorado at school?
Yeah, freshman dorms, man. We were on the same floor, like three
Freshman
doors
year?
away. Yeah.
Wow.
it's like out of a movie.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Been together since. I had the stigma of being the basketball player that was out and about and doing all these things, and I said, no, I'm here to hang out with you. And from then on, it was kind of history. We've been together.
That's a girl's
now.
dream right there.
It was fun. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. She's thugged it with me since the beginning. I mean,
Yes,
freshman year to Sweden even.
I want to ask, since we're talking about her now, you go the 4 years in northern Colorado,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of kids in school and university don't really stay 4 years in a committed
Yeah.
relationship. And then forget about northern Colorado, forget about America, going all the way to Sweden, that's a big step. And then ultimately you go through your whole career and you're still with her here, have a kid, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
And she takes this role of being the wife of a player who comes and goes around overseas. What's that like, having a wife that goes with you from country to country with a kid as well?
I mean, it's unbelievable. I think that a lot of people do it and a lot of people do it differently. I think that she's done an amazing job of keeping me sane and giving me the ability to mature and grow as well. I think that we've had a good system kind of since day one in Sweden, where she can cook, she can clean, she can take care of me, but ultimately I'm not just going to be some lazy guy sitting on the sidelines playing video games all day. So for me, it's been a blessing to have her kind of keep me in check at times and cook dinner and take care of cleaning the house when she's not here, because she's at home all day. There's some days where she doesn't even leave the apartment, and it's stuff like that because she gets nap trapped by our son or has work to do. But yeah, it's been a blessing.
But
Like, I can't
she
say
still
so many things
works.
about it. Yeah,
and
yeah.
You guys still had your kid, which is beautiful. What is it like kind of going through the pregnancy and having a kid in a foreign country?
It's unreal. I think when we first started trying, we were trying to plan it so that he could be born in the States and whatnot. And we're like, it's just never going to work. It's such a limited window. And so for me, it was really easy to just kind of commit to that. And when she was pregnant, she was great. Like, she did awesome. She was traveling, doing everything that she could. She didn't have no hamburger rule or anything like that. You know how it goes. And then he was actually born in Germany. That was a process all its own. But again, the doctors and the nurses and the midwives were just a blessing to us. And we've been kind of going ever since.
Does the team help with things like this?
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to visas, marriage certificates, babies being born in foreign countries, getting his visa and everything, they did a really good job of being on top of that and asking any questions that they needed. I think when it came to getting him his passport, that was something we had to do on our own, but everything else, setting up the hospital, kind of figuring out situations on family rooms and prices and stuff like that, they were on top of. So it was
Beautiful.
really nice. Yeah, super, super nice.
We hear so often from players that when you're moving around a lot, the homesickness is what gets to you sometimes. So it has to be so nice to say, like, you're going home to your base.
Yeah.
Which has to be incredible. And you know, speaking of going overseas, taking it back kind of in college, when did you start saying to yourself, I can go pro, and what were those options like?
Going into my senior year, after my junior year, I played really well, and started talking to agents, kind of seeing what things were like, started playing the field, seeing if these were real options, and I sat down with my agent today before I signed with him, and he just kind of shouted to me straight. He said, look, I can make you an overseas guy, no problem. It's really, we're just trying to see what high level you want to play at and stuff like that. After my senior year, there was a little dip, and he shouted to me straight. He said, look, you're just not an NBA guy right now. I think we should find you a spot here or find you a spot there and go from there. And it was awesome to kind of see. And obviously, like realizing that it's becoming a dream that's kind of turning into a reality, you're just like, yeah, I'm on board with whatever. At the end of the day, like, I went to Sweden and it wasn't the best league, the best team, but it was a great group of guys, great coach, and we ended up playing really well. So I've trusted my agent since then.
Was the G League on the table?
I'm gonna say no. I can't say that it was something that I necessarily heard about or necessarily tried out for. I guess I had a couple workouts going into my rookie season, but overall, I think I just struggled with that at times, and I guess kind of let the moment get too big.
So ultimately, you take that Sweden contract, inking that first contract, getting on that flight. Does your wife come on that flight? How was that whole process like getting off that plane?
Yeah, we were tremendously underpacked and very, very nervous. I think it's one of those situations where you fly into a small town or a small city and then go to an even smaller town. But I mean, once we got there, apartment was a little rough. Can't lie, it was a little rough. They ended up moving us to a much better apartment, so it was okay. But once we got there, we're like, we can make this work. It's got a bed, it's got a shower, it's got a kitchen that's fine for us, so we'll be fine. We got 5 meals from restaurants every day if we need one, so like it's great. And the community was really awesome. And then ultimately we just fell in love with the team. Like these guys are just friends that we'll have for a lifetime. And it is a good group of guys, good vets, good rookies, good young guys. Like it was just a lot of fun to be around. And that's what ultimately made it a lot easier for us to feel at home and not get too homesick.
I was going to say, in terms of feeling at home, I mean, you went 99 miles away. That was like the farthest you went for college. So going 99 miles to 9,000 miles, 100 miles, however far. So you said the team really helped you out with that. So were you looking then saying, I want to stay in Sweden, or were you still looking at other options?
I mean, I think if the opportunity came, so let me rephrase. The opportunity came to stay in Sweden. It came to play for that team and run it back because we ultimately lost in the finals. But again, like I played really well, and ultimately my goal, once I became a professional, my goal was to get to the highest level I could get to. And that kind of included making the next step to Germany. And also my coach in Sweden saying, you cannot come back here. It is what it is.
Staying in Sweden, you guys only have 2 Americans on the team, correct?
4.
4.
You get 4.
4
yeah.
Americans.
Yeah, and
okay.
you can play them all. So it's kind of a solid regulation.
Oh, nice. So how was it like being with those Americans?
Great. Lot older. The youngest American other than me was 26, and he'd been playing pro for 4 years now, having a good time, and he was our best player.
They hand you off some advice?
Oh yeah. Our old guy, our captain, he was 32 at the time. He'd been in Sweden for 4 years, left for 7, and then he came back.
Oh wow.
And he was giving me all the advice he could, different ways to play, different stuff like that. And then we ended up having a 4-man that was in running for the MVP. of the league. Unbelievable passer. Like I know this is gonna sound crazy, but he was like Jokic. Like he saw the whole floor and had the crazy jumper. Like not a good looking jumper, but it went in when he needed it to, and he was really good. So yeah, I think just being around them made basketball a lot easier.
Sweden sounded like a great rookie year to have.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on any hockey over there?
No, I stayed away from it.
Stayed away from the hockey.
Went to one soccer game, and that was about it.
Having that great rookie year and then moving on, now it's like, all right, your coach said can't go back to Sweden.
Yeah.
You got a great year. It's time to move on. You have these other options. When does Germany come on the table?
Pretty early, actually. I think I signed this Germany contract pretty early. I'm a sucker for new coaches, I think is what it's ultimately boiled down to. And this coach called and he said, yeah, this is my first year being a head coach in Germany. I'm really excited. I think it'd be great to have you. We obviously want you to be a guy for us. And I said, it's BBL Germany. Why not? And made it over there and had a lot of fun. Again, another good group of guys, really young. I was definitely not the oldest, definitely not the youngest, but I was nowhere near the middle, if that makes sense. Like I was 22, 23, and our youngest was 16, 18.
Oh, wow.
So it was a really young crew.
You had David DeJulius out there.
We did, yeah. We joined him late after my buddy Dre left. So yeah.
Was he from Houston?
I don't know. He played at
Maccabi,
and he played at Maccabi last year for a little while.
But so you're there in Germany. You still have an incredible year in the BBL. That's a big league too. So moving from the Swedish league, it's a good league, but to the BBL,
yeah, it's a
much better league. So what was that difference like for you?
It was a good change. I think for me, it was a completely different style of basketball, a lot more physical, a lot more aggressive, and I wasn't the most aggressive or physical person going in, but I kind of learned how to play defense, offense, and kind of get to my spots to score. So it was really nice. And then ultimately we had guys that allowed me to come off of ball screen or down screens more and shoot the ball. So it was a good fit for me.
Yeah, we see in Germany you shoot the best from three of your entire career at 40%.
Yeah.
So there was some obviously an up play in terms of quality and from Sweden to Germany. So what were you able to lean on and go for in terms of the transition?
I mean, obviously shooting ability definitely helped and having the confidence to shoot. I think I kind of figured out what coach wanted me to do and kind of we set up a good system on how to not only get me open opportunities, but like we had to have a guard like David DeJulius or Namoji Gibson, who was our starting point guard. They had to play well at times to kind of balance each other out so that they would play well and then teams would have to guard them, and then I could play well so the teams would have to guard me, and kind of so on and so forth. And it ultimately just kind of worked out for us individually, just not great for the team most of the time.
So in Germany, you switch over teams.
Yeah.
Was it a 1-year contract? What went into that?
It was a 1-year contract.
Next one was a late sign, right?
Yes. They offered me back. BG did, and ultimately I just said, look, I think that we had some different opinions about certain things, and I'd like to go somewhere else. But Germany was super nice to us, and we had some options in Germany. And yeah, Bonn was a late signing. They were pretty much had a full roster, but they kind of needed some more experience because they signed a lot of 2 G League guys and one guy from France and one guy from that was a rookie. And so they needed some experience in the American side, and I said, yeah, I can go play for you and shoot some threes and try to play defense and feel good about how things went. And ultimately it was kind of another struggle of a season, I guess, to say the least. I think that we just didn't play very well at the right times.
You guys had those bright pink jerseys.
Man, don't tell me.
What was it like wearing those?
Oh, my gosh. First off, you can't say pink. It's got to be magenta. They only say magenta.
Come on, that was magenta, man.
My bad.
But it was loud. And it was funny. One of my best friends, he's German. He's named Sam Griesel. He plays for Alba Berlin now. He is colorblind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so Berlin, actually, we're playing Berlin at home, and we're wearing our magenta jerseys, and they're wearing like a baby blue.
So it's nowhere the opposite for him?
Yeah, nowhere near the same. But he's like, dude, these jerseys look the exact same.
Oh, they look the same.
The exact same for me. I'm like, oh, this is not good. Like,
how do you play?
not great. I think he had like 4 turnovers or something. Just a rough game for him. I said, hey, I don't know what to tell you.
Just pass the ball to the other team.
Yeah, it was bad, dude.
That was good. It kind of looked like a T-Mobile commercial when I first saw it.
That's all it ever was. That's all it ever was.
So you go to Bonn. How far is BG to Bonn?
It's like 4 hours, 4 and a half
4
hours. Yeah.
Okay. And in Bonn, that's where you guys have your kid.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So going back to that, what was it like, in Germany, having the kid, and then coming back for the summer, your parents, all that. What was that like?
It was wild. First 3-4 months, I didn't do anything. Like, there's just nothing I can really do. I can maybe nap with him every once in a while, but like ultimately my wife took over and was like, look, I got to feed him. I got to feed him at night when he wakes up in the middle of the night. Like, there's no need for you to wake up. There's no need for you to kind of just spend time with him when you can.
Children's are a blessing, but in the first 3-4 months, I'm sure you also sleep-wise, how was that affecting the game?
It really wasn't too bad. Like, he would struggle at times to get good sleep, but overall he was sleeping okay through the night. And again, my wife was like, dude, just sleep as much as you can. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. You don't have to tell me twice, As soon as he was born, I missed a game. He was born on game day against Ulm, where Ben Soroff played last year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I missed that game, and then the next 3 I played unbelievable basketball, just unbelievable basketball. You're like riding a high of like, oh my gosh, I get to be a dad now, and it's a true blessing, and it's just made me play unbelievable basketball. So I was really excited for that. But overall, I think it affected me at times, but I got to have a good basketball schedule, so it wasn't too bad.
Seems like it affected more for the better.
It was. It definitely affected more for the better.
How hard was it then for you to leave Germany after having your kid there, riding that high? Like, what went into that? Definitely
tough. I think Germany was a great spot for us, and I think it was more of a comfortability thing. I think it goes back to like me choosing UNC in college. It was just a comfortability thing, and ultimately deciding to move on was best. When we went home this summer, I got to switch on full dad mode and kind of be the house dad, taking care of him every day, making sure he's fed and eats and change the diapers. So that was a lot of fun. And it's something that I just am lucky to get to do, like people in the States don't necessarily get to do that on a daily basis and spend that much time with their family on a daily basis. So it's just kind of nice to take a break and be fully invested in being a dad for a while.
And then it's time to get back to business, right?
Exactly.
Now it's like it's like contracts, agents, playing in the BBL. I'm sure you're hearing from different teams around the world now. You hear Israel, what goes off on the brain? You're like, you have a newborn child, right? What are you guys thinking about going all the way up north? You talk to other guys who have been here in the past. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that we came into this place basically not unknowledgeable or knowledgeable of the situation, but knowing kind of what was going on, we just decided to kind of make a decision on our own, not getting very much information from like former players or anything like that. I think that we just kind of had this opportunity come calling, and ultimately my agent was like, dude, you're going to be fine. Like, everything's fine. Like, when it comes to that side of things. And I said, hey, look, I told my wife, I said, hey, look, if this is something that you're not 100% on board with, and we'll wait and we'll find something else and we'll figure it out. But she was like, no, let's do it. I mean, obviously I don't want to say what's the worst thing that can happen, but overall she's like, we're going to make the most of it, as long as if it does hit the fan, you leave when I leave. And that was her solo rule with it. And I said, yeah, I can get on board with that. And I mean, like I said, I'm a sucker for newer coaches. Coach Eldad's in his second season as a head coach, and he's enjoying it, and we're all enjoying it. So it's nice to be a part of.
And y'all get off the plane. What's it like being in Israel? They greet you. How was that all like?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Got to meet some of the staff right away. I think they weren't completely prepared for the amount of bags that we brought this time while having a kid. And
you learned from underpacking.
Yes,
now to
exactly. And yet we still somehow underpacked, because it's going to get cold here eventually, and we just brought shorts and T-shirts.
We're finally wearing hoodies.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's been awesome. I think that the airport was a little bit of a cluster, just because we had people fighting for baggage carts, and everyone's running
You got
around.
the right welcome to this country.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, it wasn't too bad. The apartment was fine, and we made it a good spot for us and a good home for us. So we're just kind of enjoying that while we can.
And then you guys go all the way up north.
Yeah.
Right. And now you're starting to be here. You know, you're here about 2-3 months.
Yep.
Great team. You got a great player with Malik. You have other guy, Jemiah. Great team this year. And Kiryat Ata is all the way up north. Smaller market team.
Mm-hmm.
Usually you see Maccabi, Apoel Yerushalayim. They're like the top 3 teams. And then you have like Herzliya, whatever. This year it's completely different. We spoke about it in the beginning of the season, actually. There's guys all over the league that are really good.
Yeah.
You know? And like even Damian Lee's hurt, right? But Nessiona still have good guys on the team. They're in 7th. You know, Hapoel Ha'emek got a bigger pay budget because they combined teams up north, right? They had a Fula last year. They combined teams, so they have more of a salary cap. So they're in 2nd now. But Kiryat Ata, they didn't really change the money standards, I don't think. But y'all are in 4th.
Yeah.
Last year, y'all were in the relegation round.
Yeah.
You weren't here, but they were in the relegation round. Now y'all are in 4th. So what's going on with the team? How are you guys clicking? How are you guys feeling together?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I've noticed in this league is a lot of guys, especially foreigners, come in and enjoy it so much they don't really leave, or they get opportunities and are blessed to get to stay and stuff like that. And I think our team is the definition of we're so young and we're so confident in our abilities that we're willing to play anyone and everyone, I guess, at that point. We're not scared of anyone because we don't know who anyone is, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, obviously, you know, you're Hopewell and you know you're Maccabi and, like, you know some of these guys on every team. But, like, overall, we have 4 rookies, three rookies. One was in the G League, and then Jemiah and Darius were both straight out of college this year. And then me and Noah are the only guys that have, like, played professional basketball overseas anyways.
Right.
And I mean, we have our captains. It's his 2nd or 3rd year in
He's
the
like
league.
22 now.
Exactly.
Gal?
Yeah, exactly. And we got Tomer, who's been in the league for some years, but everyone else, this is really their first time in the league.
So you think like the young, the fire, the energy, that's what's going?
Yeah, I think so. I think we just have a group of guys that isn't going to get scared by the name on the jersey. Is they're just here to play the best basketball that we can play,
I think of those 2 losses, a lot of it had to do with the foul trouble.
100%.
So
we are hacks. It is.
What do you think this is? You guys are hacks, or it's also the reffing is a bit iffy here in Israel? What about, like, I'll ask you more in a broader scheme. You got Sweden, you got your mid-major refs, and then you got German refs, you know, and then Israel. What have been the differences in officiating, you think?
Yeah, I think that when it came to Germany, you knew who was an international ref, like a EuroLeague guy or a Champs League guy. You knew, like, those refs made it known that they were those refs.
In what way?
How they approached conversations with you when you had conversations, how they approached the game, and just kind of how they talk to you in a way. I think Israel obviously has guys that coach at international competitions. And I mean, we all make mistakes, right? Like, I travel, I turn the ball over, refs do the same thing. You know, they miss a call here and there. It's a part of basketball. They can't be 100% right every time. And I think that they're doing the best they absolutely can. I think that we are coming from Germany, at least. I knew it was a very physical league, and I was kind of able to get away, quote unquote, with a lot of things because I could use my body or put people in a different angle to try to not get a foul call. Now I'm trying to figure out the best way to combat playing a little looser, a little less physical. And obviously I've been struggling with it. You know, I'm getting maybe 1 or 2 fouls by body contact at the rim stuff, but overall it's hand checks and it's stuff like that that's kind of been killing me. So I think that we are hacks. I think that's the best way to put it. I see Darius, who is practically averaging 5 fouls, putting 2 hands on someone. I'm like, that's a foul. It's a blatant foul. So I think that it's definitely been a struggle for us, but we're trying to figure it out. And I think it goes back to practice. We are very physical and and get after it at practice. So I think it kind of translates to the game sometimes.
So being a young team, going to the off the court, right? You're in Kiryat Ata. It's a bit of a hike from here in the center of Israel. Not as much going on, but you guys are all young. How's that going, like, off the court? Are you guys hanging out a lot? Is it tougher for you because you have a young kid at home? What's that like?
Yeah, I tell everyone they got to give me a week in advance notice for me to try to do anything with them. But overall, it's been good. I think that the Americans like Darius and Jemiah, who are here completely alone, and it's a new environment for them, I think that they've been helped out by staff as well as me and my wife. We invite them to dinner, and we cook for we do family meals every here and there. And I think the Israelis have done a good job I've been invited to 4 or 5 Shabbat dinners now, and just kind of been a part of that, and they've invited everyone, so it's been really good. Overall, I think that we have a good core unit, and I think that a lot of these guys are young enough to relate to one another. I think that I'm kind of the odd man out in that part because I do have a kid and I do hang out at home more than anyone. But,
Daddy Bodie.
Yeah, but overall, we've been enjoying it, and we've been having a lot of fun,
So what's been unique about your time so far that you've spent in Israel compared to Sweden, Germany, Colorado?
Yeah. I mean, no snow, no rain, warm weather has been the biggest difference. I'm just waiting for it to get cold, truthfully.
It doesn't get too cold.
I know, but anything. I'll take 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
I might get there. In the north, it gets there.
Oh man, because for me, it's like it's 0 degrees Celsius in Colorado right now. It's cold. They're supposed to get 2 inches of snow today or something like that. And I'm like, this sounds great. But that's been the biggest difference. I think what I've learned is Kiryat Ata is a wonderful city, and it's a great community for us. There's so many nice people in it, but it sounds like it's very different compared to the center, compared to Tel Aviv, and just how more Americanized. I don't. It's not the right word, but like that's the best. Like more people speak English in Tel Aviv.
Westernized.
Yeah, westernized. There you go. Perfect. Compared to like Kiryat Ata is very traditional, very very on top of how they go about Shabbat, and no one is open on Saturdays and stuff like that. Like that's been the biggest difference for us. But it's also kind of cool to just have those resets and have full opportunities where we practice Friday afternoon and then don't practice till Saturday night because we respect Shabbat and kind of go about it that way. So
what's that like, going to Shabbat dinners, having a community that's so like faithful and traditional? Has faith become a big part of your life on the daily basis?
Yeah, I think my wife and I have always been very spiritual people. I think that when it comes down to it, we're never going to be disrespectful of one's religion or thought process. So I think it's hard for me to say no at these Shabbat dinners. I'm eating everything. I'm eating fish. I'm eating whatever.
Like,
whatever.
More,
yeah, exactly. Okay.
You're too skinny. No.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, I think that's been a blessing too, and just having the opportunity to talk like a family, even though these people you've only known for a month or 2 months, and it's really a blessing to just kind of be a part of.
For sure.
As we start to wrap up, what we always like to ask is, there are so many people out there listening who either are trying to go down the route that you went down or look at your path and can relate a little bit. What's some advice that you would give to the listeners?
I mean, ultimately, you got to work hard, right? Like that's the number one goal. I think that you got to surround yourself with the right amount of people. I think nowadays, when it comes to college athletes especially, they want to chase these guaranteed, non-guaranteed NIL deals instead of finding a program that's going to be a good fit for you, finding a coach that's going to be a good fit for you. And I think that's the biggest thing. When it comes down to it, being overseas, being a professional athlete is not for the weak. I can say that when it came down to it, I was weak, so I brought my family with me. I couldn't do it solo, so I brought my wife and I brought my now baby because they make life easier for me. It's a lot easier for me to step through the door of my apartment and say, all right, basketball's done for the day. So you have to be mentally prepared for that, because when you come over here and you're all by yourself, you can rely on the team as much as you want, but you still got to cook dinner for you most nights. You still got to take care of your body most nights, and unless you're prepared to do that and want to just kind of be a naive college kid, like you probably need to mature and figure out a way to fix that. So yeah, that's my biggest advice, is be mentally prepared to do it all alone.
Beautiful, man. And I'm happy for you that you got your
thank
family
you.
to do that and to make it a little bit easier.
Yeah, exactly.
But as we wrap up, we do this little shot clock segment.
Okay.
We're going to throw up a shot clock, rapid fire questions. You can pass.
Okay.
And yeah, we'll get into it.
You want to talk the questions or me?
Yeah, I'll start.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Ankle breaker or poster dunk?
Poster dunk.
Shawarma or falafel?
Shawarma.
Dream job growing up.
Architect.
Favorite basketball movie.
Love and basketball.
Favorite Hebrew word?
Ooh. Yalla.
Mountains or beaches?
Mountains.
Warm up song.
Something country.
Favorite musician.
Tyler Childers.
Craziest fans you played in front of?
Ooh. Ike Betson in Champions League play.
Nice. Nice. Amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah. Time.
There we go.
Awesome.
So that's the baseline. Bodie Hume, thank you for coming
Yeah,
on.
thank you.
You know, Kiryat Ata, special to have you. And we're looking forward to the rest of your season.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming on.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Let's go. Beauty.